Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We are BGSU and this is our informational webinar on the Master of Business Administration program here on our campus. My name is Keith Ramsdell and I am the Director of Graduate Enrollment on campus, and with me I have Mr. Tom Daniels, who is the Assistant Director of Graduate and Executive Programs. Tom, welcome this morning.
Thank you, Keith.
And with me, we also have Sherry Leatherman, who is a colleague of mine in the Graduate College. Sherry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, and hello.
Great. Thanks for joining us, Sherry. Today, we plan on talking to you a little bit about, again, the Master Business Administration program here on our campus. Before we do so, though, we want to give you just a few instructions for the event today. First of all of our participants will be muted. However, you can always ask questions by typing directly into the question box in your control panel on the right side of your screen. So if you look over in the control panel, there's a little section that says questions. There's a box there you can type in, and you can offer your questions at any time, and Sherry will be monitoring those for us. And then, of course, when we get to the end of the webinar, we'll also have sufficient time for any additional questions that perhaps have not been answered. We will get to those before we end the session today. Our agenda for the webinar, we plan to give you just a brief overview of BGSU and our campus. We're going to talk a little bit about the learning outcomes from the MBA program, as well as the program's strengths and uniqueness. Why would you want to attend an MBA program specifically here at Bowling Green State University? We'll talk a little bit about the curriculum of the program and the faculty who teach in that program. And then we'll kind of wrap things up with professional opportunities, career services, as well as admission requirements and tuition and fees and what the cost will be for those who choose to enroll. So with that, I just want to give you, again, a kind of an overview of Bowling Green State University. We are a public university founded in 1910, so we're not a new university. We're not kind of a startup or anything like that. Bowling Green State University has been around for over 100 years. And one thing that I like to point out when I bring this up is the fact that we are accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, which is the highest level of accreditation that a university can receive here in the United States. So, you may know some other schools that maybe have better known names, maybe more recognition, but we have the same level of accreditation as any of the schools that you've heard of, and we're very proud of that fact. It says that the quality of education that our students receive is as good as any other place in the country that you would maybe choose to attend. So that's really, really important, especially if you're coming from overseas. We are located about 30 minutes south of Toledo, Ohio, and in fact, I'll show you a map here in just a few minutes to give you a sense of proximity on what other cities are located near us. Our campus comprises over 1,300 acres and 119 buildings. And currently we have over 19,000 students from all 50 states here in the United States, as well as 70 countries abroad. So we have a very diverse population, and especially in the graduate college, lots of international students, rich diversity, and we think that that adds to the classroom experience for all of our students. And in the graduate college, we also have 2,600 students in over 75 programs, and within those programs, we have specialties and everything from doctorates to masters to certificate programs and other specializations. So pretty much anything that somebody would want to enroll in here, especially in the graduate college, we'll have that available for them. To give you again the proximity, here's a map, and you can see where Bowling Green is located. Toledo's not specifically on that map, but it's right on that orange-green border on the western edge of Lake Erie. Detroit is just about an hour to our north. Chicago is about 4 hours to our west. And then to our east, you can see New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., many of the larger cities that you're probably familiar with, and those are all within about an 8-hour drive from where we're located. So again, a lot of our students are looking for jobs in those city centers, and it's not a bad drive to get there in less than a day and be able to interview or, check out internships or just to sightsee while students are here enrolled in our programs. So with that, I want to hand it over to my colleague, Tom Daniels, and Tom is going to talk a little bit more about why you might choose a Master of Business Administration.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon to you. There's always a question about why would I seek a master's degree in business administration. And before we kind of go through even these topics, what I'd share with you is that an MBA is really open to any student who has a 4-year degree or bachelor's degree in any discipline. So it's not required that you have a undergraduate degree in business to be able to seek a master's in business administration. If you look back, you'll find that the MBA was created specifically for folks who have a degree and wanted to have a focus in business. So wanted to make sure that you were aware of that fact that you don't have to have that undergraduate degree in business. So why would you get a master's degree in business? And rather than reading through each one of these, I would really just kind of say the first bullet point really talks about making sure that we're a deeper understanding of the major business disciplines. And we'll actually look at the curriculum later and show you the curriculum and the specific coursework that you would take in an MBA program. But we want to make sure that you get that deeper understanding of those major business disciplines. We do here at BGSU offer the option of specializing in a specific discipline such as accounting, finance, or supply chain management. For example, our accounting specialization does provide a student the opportunity to be qualified to sit for the CPA or the Certified Public Accountant, which is extremely valuable for students who are looking for a career in accounting. And then our finance and supply chain management really allow students to be able to focus in on one of those disciplines and get a concentration or specialization in those. Throughout our program, it will also allow you to get critical networking and team building skills, which are absolutely crucial when students are looking for career employment after their program. We do a lot of work in terms of engaging students in the local business community. In fact, when we look at the curriculum, we can talk about a specific course where our students who started last fall, just in the fall semester, had interacted with between 40 and 50 business professionals in the regional business community. So it really offers a lot of opportunity to not only learn about the local business community, but also to interact with those business professionals. Throughout our program, you also will make sure that we're covering the fundamental business principles, generalizations, and theories. So it's one of the major learning outcomes, as well as applying course material and multitude of problem solving. Obviously, in business, one of the biggest elements of a role in business is problem solving and decision making. And so we spend quite a bit of time throughout the program focused on those that learning outcome around case studies and case study development. Kind of even with that, going on to the next bullet point around demonstrating broad creative capacities, oral and written communication skills, and the ability to work with others as a team. Again, when we start looking at case studies, you're typically working on those either sometimes it's individual, other times it's a team, and being able to work with each other throughout the program. You actually go through the program as a cohort. So all the students are together, and so you really become really close with your other classmates or your other cohort members and working together on different projects throughout the program. You will have written communication or written projects. You also have some oral presentations as part of the curriculum as well. And then the final learning outcome listed there, find and use resources for answering questions and solving problems, is being able to do the research and find the information that you need to be able to answer business problems. The final 2 learning outcomes, analyze and critically evaluate ideas, arguments, and differing points of view. We want you to be able to have those conversations with your other cohort members in terms of challenging each other to come up with the best plan. Again, we want you to feel like you're in a business environment throughout your program. And then demonstrating a clear understanding of and commitment to professional ethics, standards, and codes of conduct. Obviously, ethics in the workplace and ethics in business is a hot topic. and we actually have one of the courses in the program specifically looks at business ethics. So when we start looking at our program strengths and our unique program, our MBA program here at BGSU is fairly flexible. Now it can be completed in as little as 12 months, and I would suggest that about 60% of our students will finish in that 12 months. And then the ability to add a specialization or an internship, and that's where the other 40% of the students would fall in. The other 40% of the students will choose to specialize or add an internship to their program. Specializations for students is strongly encouraged, especially if you're coming in without a degree, an undergraduate degree in business. So we strongly encourage a student to get a specialization in accounting, finance, or supply chain. And if you're able to, being able to add an internship in one of those fields is very, very strong. In fact, we have some students who will do a 12-month MBA, finish the coursework for the general MBA. They'll add one semester to add the specialization, and then they'll add one more semester on an internship. So their program does almost become 2 years, but they walk out at graduation with an MBA with a specialization and a internship in that specialization, which is probably the strongest program that you could finish with. Our cohort approach does encourage professional networking and team building, and we build that into the program as well. We give you multiple opportunities for professional networking and team building through the program. We have intensive professional development seminars to prepare you for successful careers. We bring in a number of business professionals. Some of them are BGSU graduates, some of them are graduates of other institutions, but they have successful careers, and we bring those professionals in to be able to provide additional development throughout the program. We do an absolute ton of business community interaction. Our students go on company tours to give you a flavor for the company tours that we went on during the fall semester. We visited a candy company that makes 12 million lollipops every single day. They are about an hour from us. They also produce 40% of all the candy canes that are produced at Christmas time. So it was an opportunity to be able to meet with the president and CFO, as well as a couple of their leaders in the organization, and then tour the facility and do a nice Q&A session. We also visited a solar panel company that's within an hour of our campus here. We have visited with a Whirlpool, which Whirlpool is a manufacturer of appliances. We visited their washing machine assembly plant. We have visited with a local regional bank and met with their leadership. So these are the types of company tours and interactions that we strive to give our students, to really give them that understanding of what happens in the classroom is important, but also what happens and how you apply that to the real world. A number of guest speakers throughout the program. We'll have guest speakers from a multitude of different backgrounds. Again, some of them are coming in to speak about networking. Some of them may come in to talk about running a nonprofit organization. Some will come in and talk about topics such as emotional intelligence, project management, whatever it might be. Whatever, we try to make sure those guest speakers have significant value to the students. And then panel discussions with HR professionals, with accounting and finance professionals, with supply chain management professionals, with nonprofit professionals. We're bringing those professionals into the classroom to allow the students to be able to interact and have discussions with those professionals to learn a little bit more about their careers and opportunities for networking for future employment. We have a very diverse student body. We really try to bring the world into the classroom. We believe, obviously, that we all live in a global economy, and so we try to be able to create a classroom that looks that way. So it's typically, we'll have 10 to 12 countries represented at any given time. Currently, we have students from South Korea, from China, from Nepal, from India, from Pakistan, from Iraq, from Kenya, from Cameroon, Spain, and Brazil. So just to kind of give you an idea of some of the countries that are currently represented in our program. And a unique opportunity for our MBA students is that even though our program is only 1 year long, there is an option to be able to study abroad in Strasbourg, France. So we'll typically have 3 or 4 of our students will choose to sign up for a study abroad in Strasbourg, France. Kind of a unique opportunity, especially for just a 1 year program. So moving into the curriculum, our curriculum does have a total of 41 credit hours of graduate coursework. Ultimately, what that turns out to be is 13 3-hour classes and then 1 2-hour course. So we kind of break these courses up into 3 buckets. The first bucket is our foundation courses. This is the foundation for the core business courses. So you can see there, Econ 6000, MBA 6000. Well, so Econ, economic analysis of the firm, financial accounting, quantitative analysis for managers, managerial accounting, and challenges and responses of the global firm, which is our international business course. Now, I would share with you, if you have an undergraduate degree in business, it's possible that you may be able to waive up to 2 of these courses. The first course, some of the courses that students are typically waiving are the econ analysis of the firm and financial accounting. If you have an undergraduate degree in business, it's likely that you have the background for those 2 courses, and so it's possible that you may be able to waive up to 2 of those courses. These are our core courses. So again, when we talked earlier about, you'll see some of the disciplines within business. Topics of management, and I'll talk about that one last, but the information technology for managers, supply chain management, marketing management, strategy, financial management, ethics and law in business, leading for organizational success, and statistics for managerial decision making. You can see all those courses are really the real core business disciplines. Now, the topics in business is the 2-hour course in the program. I like to joke that that's the best course in the program because I'm the instructor of record. But what we do, that's the course that we do most of the professional seminars, and we do a lot of the company visits, and we bring in the guest speakers. So that course is taken during your first semester. So the students, again, as I mentioned, in the fall semester, that's where they had most of their company interaction. And we'll have about 6 more opportunities during their second semester, the spring semester, for more company interaction as well. And then, rather than a thesis, our students aren't required to write a thesis. We do have a capstone course. Now, the capstone course, strategy, design, and implementation, is intended to bring in all of the coursework and all of the knowledge that you've built throughout the entire program into one course. And so that course is the final course that you take during the program. Now we'll look at how the curriculum is designed then. Again, for our students who are finishing in the 12 months, the first 12 months does complete your general MBA. Our students take 14 credit hours in the fall. They take 15 credit hours in the spring and 12 credit hours over the summer. So there are summer courses. Really what that works out to is 5 courses in the fall, 5 in the spring, and 4 courses over the summer. Now, if students choose to do a specialization, the accounting specialization is a little bit unique compared to the other 2, but the accounting specialization students will take 1 or 2 different courses during the 12-month schedule, and then they would take the additional courses in a fall semester. So they would go fall, spring, summer, and then fall, and they would take 9 hours during that last fall semester. The finance and supply chain specializations add 1 additional semester, so the students would take 14 credit hours in the fall, 15 in the spring, 12 over the summer, and then they would add 1 fall semester with 12 additional credit hours in supply chain or finance specialization courses. And then students who would choose to add an internship would typically add that in the following spring semester, again, making their program almost a 2-year program, but walking out with one of the strongest MBA programs you can have. We've just kind of provided a list of most of the faculty who typically teach in our MBA program. Dr. Amelia Carr typically teaches in our international business and management courses. Dr. Jan Hartley typically teaches in our supply chain management. Her and a person listed 2 below her is Hoki Men, also typically teaches supply chain management in the program. Dr. Dan Klein is our financial management instructor. David Reed typically teaches our marketing management course. Dr. Roy typically teaches our statistics course. He will also occasionally teach in our quantitative analysis course. Dr. Sneed is one of our accounting professors. Dr. Vanderhart is one of our econ professors. He's also the chair of our economics department. So he also assigns the faculty member to teach our business law and ethics. And Dr. Jane Wheeler is typically who teaches our leadership course. So it just kind of gives you a flavor for the faculty that we have teaching the MBA program. So some professional opportunities, and we kind of talked a little bit about these already. So just in terms of the professional opportunities, they're definitely prepared to work in a wide variety of different business fields, including for-profit and nonprofit organizations. We have a number of our graduates who are working in profit and nonprofit organizations. And that's part of the reason we bring in professionals into the classroom, is to giving them those opportunities to talk with those organizations. And just to kind of give a flavor of some of our recent graduates, they've been hired as financial analysts, contract negotiators, auditors, human resource directors, supply chain analysts, product managers, and in many other capacities. The MBA really does open up a multitude of different professional opportunities, and really not kind of pigeonholed into one specific area.
Great, thanks, Tom. And with that, that's a perfect segue into some of the services that are provided here at Bowling Green State University. And one of the biggest ones is our Career Center. And oftentimes we get the question regarding, when students are getting ready to graduate, how do we go about helping them to find employment upon graduation? And we do have a career center, and in fact, there is a professional, a staff person who works in the College of Business, who is kind of the point person for those students who are graduating from the MBA program. And I'll let Tom come back with a little bit more information on that in just a moment. But I do want to just show you a sampling of just a handful of the companies, the worldwide companies that recruit actively on our campus and hire BGS graduates. And you can see some of them there, everything from Adobe, Capital One, Chase Bank, Coca-Cola, Goodyear Tire, Google, Honda, and many of these, in fact, are not necessarily local, but they're within an hour's proximity of our campus. Libby Glass is in Toledo. Marathon Petroleum is based in Findlay, Ohio, which is just about 30 minutes from us. Nationwide Insurance is based in Columbus, Ohio, just a couple hours away. Owens Corning is in Toledo. Owens, Illinois is in Toledo. And so many of these Fortune 500 companies that are listed on this screen are in fact in very close proximity to our campus and actively send recruiters. In fact, we have a career fair. Our spring career fair is on our campus next week, and many of these companies, if not all of these companies, will have recruiters right here on our campus. And with that, we just want to see some of the things that they do here. Again, the Career Center and their staff provide services in helping you with your job search, helping you put together your resume, making sure that it's attractive to a prospective employer and has the information and details that it should contain, interview preparation, making sure that you're prepared for the types of questions that might be asked, as well as giving you the opportunity to tell your own story and why a future employer should consider you for a job. And then again, you can see just some of the types of job titles here that some of our students have come out with. But before I leave this topic, I want to go back to Tom and just let him tell you a little bit about the staff person who works in the College of Business.
Right. So I'll share two things around that. One is his name is Tom as well. So we're sometimes known as the two Toms. But Tom's role is to lead. He's the director of what we call our Business Career Accelerator office. And Tom's role, again, as Keith mentioned, is really kind of be that point person for only students who are in the College of Business. So he focuses only on the students who are in the College of Business to help them, and he kind of is the point person between the professional organizations and the students in the college. So he does offer, as Keith mentioned, the job search, the resume writing, the interview preparation, all those types of things. And one of the things that we specifically do in the MBA program before our expo, so our expo, as Keith mentioned, is next week. Well, last week, we had 5 recruiters who came on campus and did mock interviews, pretend interviews with all our MBA students. So they were able to review resumes and then be able to do a 15-minute interview with this recruiter and then spend 5 or 10 minutes in a feedback session. So it really enabled the students to be able to get a real good practice and at the same time really get good feedback from a recruiter before the expo that's coming up in a week. Now, interestingly enough, those recruiters are also interested in some of those students who they interviewed with. So those interviews are set up for two reasons. One is, the most primary reason is to give the students feedback on their interviewing skills and their resume. But at the same time, if there's a chance that that recruiter is looking for a student to come in and hire, maybe there's a relationship that's built there.
Great, thanks, Tom. So we want to wrap up our kind of our formal presentation time, talking a little bit more in depth about the admissions requirements and process, as well as tuition and fees. And our graduate application is online. You can visit that by going to either the MBA page or the graduate website. And while the MBA program is on rolling admission, the date that we always like to put out there, especially when we're doing these presentations for international students, is March 1, primarily because of the visa process can take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks in many cases. And so we just want to be sure that you have plenty of time to get through not just the admissions process as well as the visa process. And Tom, do you want to add something there just as far as your review process is concerned?
Yeah, absolutely. So for students who have interest in any kind of financial considerations, and we'll talk a little bit about assistantships and scholarships a little bit later, but that's definitely the date that you want to target is March 1st, as offers for scholarships and graduate assistantships will be made by March 15th. Now, we will still accept applications and still have admissions all the way through the end of June. But if you ever interested in any kind of financial considerations, March 1st is the date that we really want to target.
Great. And then as far as qualifications, we really do look at the holistic package. So, oftentimes prospective students will say, hey, if I have this set of grades, or if I have this, GMAT score, is that sufficient to get in? And we certainly value those things in the review process, but it's not really as simple as that. We do require all the things that you see on the screen there right now. We recommend a 2.7 on a 4-point undergraduate GPA or its equivalent. And especially for those of you who are in India, which is much of our population or much of our audience today, that would essentially be equivalent to a graduating in first division or first class from your undergraduate program. You could be at the very top of second class or second division. That might be sufficient, but obviously we would prefer to see first class or first division, and that would make you equivalent to the 2.7 on a typical 4-point US scale. We do require all official transcripts from the universities that you've attended, although we can use unofficial for initial review process, but we will eventually need official transcripts from the schools you've attended. On the GMAT, we prefer a combined score of 500 or better, and we also require a self-evaluation as well as educational objectives statement. Those documents are submitted directly to the department, directly to Tom's office, and we also require 2 letters of recommendation. And so those things are very important for the review process. Again, it's not just the scores, it's not just test scores and GPA, grade point average. We do value those other documents as well. And then for all international applicants, we require either a score of 80 or better on the TOEFL or a 7 or better on the IELTS test. Tom, is there anything that you want to add there as far as the process is concerned?
The only thing I would share there is that you don't have to turn in a whole package all at one time. You can turn in those pieces as you have them. So if you have your self-evaluation and your educational objective statement are ready, you're able to send that in while you're waiting on your letters of recommendation.
Great.
And the other thing I would share with the GMAT is that the GMAT typically the GMAT will tell you that it takes 21 days for us to receive your official scores. Typically, it's about 10 or 12 days, though. So just as a heads up.
Great. And finally, on the tuition and fees side, we would never say that going on to graduate school is an inexpensive thing to do. We know that there's cost involved. We know that there's some sacrifice, and we've all been through this ourselves. But we also think that there's great gains to be made. We think that there's great value. And in fact, I heard a presentation just last week talking about the value of a graduate education and earning power over a lifetime and those types of things. And those things are certainly still true. But when it comes to Bowling Green State University, we also like to talk about our value because we are one of the least expensive major universities in the Midwestern section of the United States, really, and in the country. When you compare our cost to other schools, especially some of the larger, perhaps bigger name schools that you maybe have considered, we're very, very reasonably priced. And for a one-year program, if you were going through the typical MBA, you're looking at a total cost, tuition and fees of about $26,000. And I've put the per credit hour instructional rate there for non-residents, as well as the general and graduate services fee there per credit hour. That's a very reasonable cost for graduate education. And then, of course, it may be more than that if you go on for your for specialization or an internship or what have you. But we just encourage you to compare. I guess if nothing else, compare the costs, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. In addition to that, we have, you need to take into consideration books, room and board. And most of our students here in graduate school are renting an apartment off campus, or they're getting a room for rent in a private home. And then, of course, you also have meals that go along with that. So you need to take that into consideration, along with your travel expenses to and from home. Insurance, health insurance that's required. You can purchase that through Bowling Green State University, or you can get that on your own. Entertainment and just some miscellaneous kinds of things. But when you look at this, I would also encourage you to, there are many websites that will give you a comparison of cost of living expenses. And the cost of living here in this area of the United States is probably about as affordable as it gets anywhere in the United States. And so, definitely take that into consideration as well. And then finally, assistantships and scholarships are available, a limited number through the MBA program for teaching and research. And Tom, can you add anything to that?
Yeah, I would just encourage you that they are limited and competitive, and they are based on your incoming academic credentials. And again, as we talked about from a time standpoint, the first round of offers we made by March 15th. So that's why we have the March 1st date.
Great. Thanks, Tom. So with that, that's kind of the formal presentation that we have. I'm going to put our final slide up here so that you can see our contact information. If you have questions about general admission, I would certainly encourage you. You can contact me directly. Or if you have specific questions about the MBA program, Tom's email is there on your screen for your convenience. But at this point, if you have any questions that have not already been addressed, we would encourage you to go on ahead and type those into the questions box on your control panel. And Sherry, we'll come to you to see if you have received any questions so far.
No, we haven't received any questions thus far.
Okay. All right, great. Well, we're going to wait just a couple minutes. And if anybody participating right now would like to add a question in there, this would be the time to do that. And while we're waiting, I'm going to throw a question of my own over to Tom. And that question has to do with, you've mentioned over and over and over again, Tom, the fact that you are connecting your students with professionals. You're taking students out to them. You're bringing those professionals into the classroom. It certainly seems to me that that's probably one of the key strengths to the program. How have you seen that relate to, your job connections with students after the fact?
I would say it's actually had a tremendous impact on our students being able to get employed. That's kind of the trick is. Again, we encourage our students to not only have those interactions during the classes that we're having and when we're bringing in and interacting with those professionals, but to encourage them to find opportunities to do that on their own. The way to find a job, when we talk to our Business Career Accelerator office, the way that our students are finding jobs isn't necessarily through applying for jobs online. It's about the interaction with the business community and those networking opportunities. So having those interactions and giving our students opportunities to practice those interactions has made a huge impact in the employability of our students and where they're getting jobs.
Right. And obviously that's one of our key concerns here on campus is that when students come and they invest their money, they invest their time, your expectation as prospective students is, well, what am I going to get when I'm done with this? And we want you to know that that's something we take very seriously. And Tom and his team are working very diligently to make sure that our students are successful, not just while they're here on campus in our program, but when they're done and they go to look for work, that they are prepared to find gainful employment.
At the same time, I would share that we do have some students who choose after their MBA program to pursue a doctorate degree, and an MBA can definitely set them up to continue to do that. And we have a host of students who have chose to go on to a PhD program. I can think of two students just off the top of my head. One is at the University of Missouri, and another one who is at Texas Tech, both pursuing doctorate degrees that had graduated in the last year and a half.
Okay, great. And Sherry, with that, we'll come back one last time to see if you have received any questions.
Yes, I do have a couple questions. The first one is in reference to the admission process. If a person doesn't have any GMAT scores but has about 8 or 9 years of experience, would that suffice for acceptance?
For our full-time MBA program, the GMAT is a required element. I would share at the same time, if you've previously or have already taken the GRE, we will review those scores as well. So we'll take the GRE if you've already taken it. But yes, the GMAT is required even if you have work experience.
Okay, and Tom, could you go over how students are possibly considered for assistantships or fellowships?
Yeah, so we will, so as Keith mentioned when he talked through the application process, we do value the entire application process. Now, students who want to be considered for graduate assistantships or scholarships must meet at least the minimum. So a GPA of at least 2.7 on a 4.0 scale it's a requirement or to be eligible for scholarship opportunities, and a GMAT score or a GMAT equivalent of 500 or better is required to be eligible for a scholarship or graduate assistantship. So meeting those minimums is the first step, and then we will take all of your application elements into consideration when we make those offers. So somebody with work experience that we see as valuable and can be valued back, provide some value back to the university or back to the College of Business in a specific role, whether it's in research or it's some type of teaching assistant role with faculty. We value a lot of that, so we take into consideration the experiences that you've had as well. But the minimum criteria are the GPA and the GMAT there, and then we take other pieces into consideration. So hopefully that's helpful.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all we have for today.
Great. Well, thanks, Sherry. Well, with that, then I think we'll go ahead and wrap up our time. Again, I would encourage you to jot down the information, the contact information that you see on your screen right now, both for myself and Tom Daniels. We appreciate your interest in Bowling Green State University and the Master of Business Administration that we offer. We think we've got a great program to offer you, and so we anticipate and hope that we'll see your application coming onto our desks here in the near future. And certainly, if you have any questions that come up, do not hesitate to contact us. That's why we're here, is to help you and help you to make the best choice for you in moving forward with your graduate education. So with that, again, thank you so much for your time. On behalf of Tom Daniels and Sherry Leatherman and myself and everyone here at Bowling Green State University, thank you for your interest and have a great day.